It's time to try something new. I've been making YouTube videos for over 5 years now. When I started, the goal was just to be genuine, make videos that I enjoy, and hope for the best that there will be enough similar-minded people out there to create a bit of a following. Hopefully while making some extra income to support my lifestyle here in Korea. I got about 100 views per video the first year, 200 to 300 the second, and then about 2.5 years in, I got very lucky. I uploaded a video about my experience living in Korea for 10 years as a foreigner, which got over 100,000 views in about a month. And this gave my first channel, Lost and Found, the momentum to start making guide videos to help tourists visit Korea, which I learned was the best way to generate the income so I could create videos full-time and support my lifestyle here. I also learned that it's best to keep things consistent, so after some personal life changes, I decided to focus on the guide videos for my original channel, and I created this channel, Seoul to the World, to focus on my personal journey. I've tried a few different things on here, such as exploring new places in Korea and talking about my personal growth or why I live here. I've reflected a lot recently and realized what I want to do going forward. First of all, I'm very grateful to everyone who watches my videos, even if it's just once for a few seconds. Everyone has busy lives, and the fact that so many people have taken time out of their day to watch and listen to what I have to say is extremely humbling. I want to express my deepest gratitude to everyone out there, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, no matter where you're from, what race you are, or what you believe in. Now I'd love to share what I plan on doing for the future of this channel. I'm a pretty sensitive person who gets easily affected by what others say. This means when people make comments on my videos, positive or negative, I tend to get swayed sometimes. So when it's time to film a new video, sometimes I reflect on what people have said in the comments and start filming the new video almost for the sole purpose of satisfying those people. Actually, every time I've done this, I haven't been as genuine overall. And funnily enough, these are the videos that perform the worst as well. I'm not telling people to stop commenting on my videos or to stop saying what you liked or didn't like. Please feel free to write whatever you want, but only if you want to, as I love reading the comments and I'm super thankful for all the messages I've received from everyone. From now on, I'm gonna make more videos coming truly from my heart and soul. I'm just one of over 8 billion people on this planet, so my words aren't anything particularly special. But when I'm browsing YouTube myself, sometimes it's hard for me to find videos that I really resonate with. So my motivation on here is mostly to try and create videos that I'd like to see. From this point forward, I'm gonna try my best to film my actual life here in Korea, or my trips to other countries, just like you're seeing here from my amazing recent trip to Canada to visit my family and friends. I'm gonna try my best to capture the beauty of what I see in daily life, whether it's a new place I haven't been to, or a familiar one I go to all the time. It's time to make a change. I'm moving back to my favorite place in the world, Seoul, and check out the view from my new place. I've dreamt about seeing Namsan Tower from my house since I first moved to Korea in 2013, and I've finally made it happen. A place to rent in the heart of the city for 700,000 won, or about 470 USD per month. I'm so fortunate and happy to have found this place. My new life in the city starts now. Welcome to Chapter 2 of Seoul to the World.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be, just like in a dream. Maybe I'm starting to feel what true love can be. She is out of reach for someone like me. Baby, you keep pushing me.
Seoul is a city like no other. Even after 13 years living here, I'm still finding new places all the time. Literally right next to the places I've been hundreds of times. There are massive multi-lane roads everywhere with constant traffic, and tiny alleyways right next to them that are quiet, filled with traditional buildings that somehow bring everything together, making it feel like anyone and everyone is welcome. My relationship with Seoul is complex. Sometimes I love it, and sometimes not so much. But one thing that remains is that every time I leave, I can't stop thinking about it. I guess that makes it home, where I feel the most comfortable, amongst the other 26 million people that live here and the surrounding area. I'd like to share the places I love most here, which despite the fact that I commonly focus on the lesser known places in Korea, some of my most favorite are actually the ones that most people know about, such as Namsan Tower, what I would call the main landmark here, usually featured on postcards and advertisements. When you're in Seoul, it always feels like it's watching over you, standing tall and calm in the middle of the city, reminding you that no matter how chaotic life can get here, there are always places nearby to find peace and quiet, to digest things, and prepare you to return back into the busy city with a calmer and more balanced mind. I can now look at it every day from my window, morning, day, and night, and it gives off a different vibe every hour, depending on how the light hits it and what the weather's like. I'll probably take it for granted someday after I've lived here for a while, but I know that in the future, if I eventually move out of this place, I'll always remember how happy it made me feel when I first moved in. And just like I miss Seoul when I leave the city, I'll definitely miss this view.
Baby, baby, stop tempting me. Is it a dream? Oh, baby, you keep pushing me.
It's currently the rainy season, called Changmacheol in Korean, and a lot of people dislike the muggy, gray weather with heavy tropical monsoon rainfall in June and July, sometimes soaking you from head to toe in less than a minute. But I personally love it. It's almost like being in a water park as a kid. The rain is warm, and the way I see it, in the summer I'm either going to be drenched with sweat when it's sunny and hot out, or with rain during Changmacheol. And I'd take rain over sweat any day. You can also make a choice to use an umbrella like most people here, creating a little personal bubble, listening to the relaxing sound of the rain beating off and calming the mind. Or else you can just embrace the wetness without one. My personal favorite way when going for walks in my neighborhood. Changmacheol is when the cicadas hatch every year, which are everywhere in Seoul. I remember watching Japanese anime as a child, and the noises from the cicadas were often used to represent summer in them, so they're quite nostalgic for me, and I think back to my childhood whenever I hear them. But the hotter it gets, the louder they are, which can easily pierce the ears sometimes, and disrupt peace a little bit. But when it rains, they give off a mellower, quieter singing buzz. One of my favorite sounds to hear when I walk around in Seoul, and another reason why I love Changmacheol. In Seoul, it's so easy to get around with its endless transportation options that are extremely affordable. Since returning here, I've been in the honeymoon phase again, re-exploring the places that made me fall in love with the city in 2012. I still remember my first time seeing Hongdae, Seoul's most famous university and nightlife district. It blew me away back then, sitting down at the playground, chatting with random travelers from all over the world, drinking makgeolli, bought directly from the infamous makgeolli man, and just seeing where the night would go. Seoul changes faster than any place I've lived in before. The playground is gone now, and the surrounding park has been renovated. From a grungy hangout spot to a more modern, brighter area for people to relax in. To be honest, I preferred it before, probably for nostalgic reasons, but I can definitely appreciate the changes they made. Back then, there were these places called Hobar everywhere. They were casual bar-club hybrids you'd always see people trying to get lucky at, of course with a name nobody can forget, but none of them have stuck around to this day. Then there was Mikjuya, a self-service bottle bar I and many others spent countless nights at, chatting the night away with cheap beer. It's also nowhere to be seen. I'll never forget the places I went to when I was in my mid-20s, still figuring things out in life. And although things have changed so much here, walking around still reminds me of when I first arrived, the time I thought I'd be here for just a year. It's crazy to think it's been 13 years since then. Time flies by faster than I thought it would. I'm a lot more comfortable in my skin now, but still very much the same person, just like Hongdae is still the same in a lot of ways. I'll make sure to come back here whenever I want to remember how I fell in love with Korea. There might be people out there watching or listening who've always dreamt about moving here to teach English or study, but you might be hesitating, thinking about how you could miss other opportunities if you move here, which you might later regret. I'm not the person with all the answers, but I'd like to say what I wanted to hear before coming here. At the time, I also constantly dreamt about living in Korea. I used to watch the old Eat Your Kimchi videos with envy, thinking about how fun life looks here. But I always made excuses that it wasn't something I was capable of. One day, a spark hit me. I'm not sure how, but I made the decision to start following my inner voice and to move here as an English teacher. I was so bad at interviews that I took the very first job that accepted me, in an area I didn't want to be in, over an hour south of Seoul, as the only foreign teacher at a brand new hagwon where nobody spoke English well. But I loved it. I was motivated to learn Korean so I could speak it to my coworkers at company dinners, and ended up becoming good friends with all of them. Since then, I've never looked back. My life has become infinitely better. Following my inner voice is now something I do out of habit, and I feel like I'm on the exact journey I'm meant to be on. It's not a guarantee that the same thing will happen to you, but I'd recommend looking deep inside of yourself if you haven't yet. Find out who you truly are and what you want to be doing. It might not be easy to achieve your dream, but every time you take one tiny step towards it, I guarantee it'll make you feel good. Then you can just keep taking little steps every day, and then someday, even if you don't accomplish your ultimate dream, you might realize that just being on the path to follow your inner voice is enough, and you'll feel unstoppable. This might bring you to Korea like it did for me, or it might make you realize that you're satisfied wherever you are. Whatever it is, I wish you all the best on your journey. People might also wonder what it's like to live in Seoul long term. When I first moved here, I met a lot of other English teachers on the weekends in Hongdae and Itaewon, the international district of Seoul, and I'd say about half of them were unhappy with their lives here. They would talk about the coldness of people and how nobody took them seriously because they were foreigners. A lot of them were counting the days until their contract was finished, so they could move somewhere else or go back home. It made me start doubting my decision to move here. I was in a state of fear that I might get taken advantage of at my workplace, or that I'd start to feel more isolated if I stayed here long term. However, none of those things ended up being true. My first year was incredibly positive. I traveled all around the country, had a couple trips to Japan, and met some of my best friends that I still keep in touch with to this day. Also, the more I improved my Korean and learned about the culture, the more accepted I felt here. not as a Korean person, but as someone who feels like they truly belong. After the first year, things just kept getting better and better. It became a place I feel truly comfortable in. Whenever I go outside, no matter what time of day it is, I feel safe. I usually have a few very warm interactions with people on the street or at stores or restaurants, and most importantly, it's just fun. I'm definitely aware that my gender and race come into play here. Also, being self-employed with my own schedule allows me a lot more freedom to enjoy life than if I was working full-time at a company. But saying this, I don't think there's any other place on this planet I'd rather live in than Seoul. As someone who loves change, loves to travel and live in new countries, and lives life extremely spontaneously, to the point where sometimes I travel without even knowing where I'm headed to, I never thought I'd be able to find a place that I actually want to settle down in. And that's what Seoul is for me. If you love structure, complete predictability, and dislike change, it might not be the best fit, but you'll never know unless you try. And even if you don't end up enjoying life here like I did, I don't think you'll regret the decision to come. And that's just a short story about how I fell in love with Seoul, the city that keeps getting better and better the more time I spend here, with little surprises around every corner, constant change, and sometimes pure chaos, just like me. It's truly a city of the past, the present, and the future, a symbol of how Korea never gave up, one of the most impressive and commendable survival tales in history. Every time I return to Canada to visit my family, there's a part of me that wonders if my mind will fluctuate and want to move back. It would be nice to be closer physically, but the person I became in Seoul is a lot more present, more capable of being honest with them, making us closer as a result. If I never came to Korea in the first place, I could have easily ended up continuing my patterns being controlled by fear, finding my worth from the appraisal of others, and making myself smaller as time goes along. Or maybe I would have figured things out. Whatever the case is, it doesn't really matter, as I can't imagine a better path than the one I'm on right now, here in Seoul. And I'm extremely grateful for everything this city has taught me.